Bath.
Oh, bath. I said bass.
No,
because we're talking alcohol over here, and you start bringing up bath.
Wondering if you're a bath guy.
Am I a bath? Like get in a
Do you ever look at
bathtub
someone
guy?
and wonder what is going on inside their head?
That is
I need a Miller
great.
Lite.
I think we're
That
on
is
it.
a
I think we're
great
on the
new
show.
drop. That is another one of John's inside out drops. Luddy's still. Are you?
Well, wait.
Are you
Commando
in on
Sam
ins-
just asked me if I like taking a bath.
Literally,
seriously?
as time is. I mean, our cold opens are unmatched. You cannot replicate this kind of gold for content.
Who'd
Guess
want
what?
to?
We've got a regular show today and tomorrow. Sean is here, but not here, but he'll be on the show. Sam is here. Luds is here, at least physically. I don't know if mentally he's here. We'll find out. And of course, back to health. Our producer, John, is also here. Let's get it started. DLLS, Dallas Stars podcast.
Get it ready, boys.
That looks like Jason Arnott.
This is the DLLS Dallas Stars podcast for Wednesday, January 22nd. Welcome inside the DLLS Lounge studio. Look from our buddy up in the suburbs of Detroit, Sean Shapiro, Craig Ludwig, Sam Nestler, our producer, John Anderson. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us today. Again, we've had so many Stars games. We've had such a busy, condensed schedule. I feel like whenever we have one of these, we're all sitting here going, what do we do with ourselves? We have to get back into the habit of having a regular afternoon live show.
It's a nice studio.
Isn't it? With sunlight. We don't have a lot of those. Usually we're shrouded in darkness or being overtly or covertly filmed on your scooter, just trying to be safe and criticized for it and all that. That's a topic for another time. But we have a big show for you today. Sean did welcome to Scootergate 2025. Thank you, Dustin. There's a real debate about it. If you haven't seen, go to the DLS Stars Twitter account because Luddy did a little breakdown, and you'll notice that I was in the intersection when the light was still yellow. But that's beside the point.
Shouldn't that be diehard only? Like I want, if we're gonna break down Owen's following traffic laws on his scooter, I feel like that should be diehard only. Right?
A diehard level, like they should, really be our committed supporters. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes. There.
I think we need a poll on that. Let the fans.
That's not a bad idea.
Let's get their opinion.
We should poll the audience.
Legal, illegal, just plain stupid,
ridiculous,
or whatever you want. John, give them 3 or 4 choices on there and let them vote.
And then
I'll come up with that later.
we'll have to
Look at this guy with his social media prowess.
Revisit my rebuttal. We'll have to do that later. But today's show, Sean got a chance to watch the game. He wasn't on the show yesterday, so he's going to give his 2 cents about Stars Hurricanes and a couple of details of goaltending for that. Guess what? John Klingberg, our old buddy, is now practicing in Edmonton, so we will talk about that today. There was as Luddy liked to call it, a dust-up in New York yesterday between the Rangers and the Senators. We're going to talk about that as part of our NHL news and notes. But I wanted to start today with something that Dallas has been rumored with for the last couple weeks, and that is the saga going on in Vancouver surrounding JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, and the Vancouver Canucks. So first and foremost, I think most people that are hockey fans that keep tabs on NHL storylines know that there is a not-so-private spat going on between two of the big stars for the Canucks, Pettersson and Miller. And while they've publicly said there's no problem, everything else suggests that there is one. Luds, there's got to be something there. There's way too much smoke.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. And again, back to the distractions, and look at where that team is right now. Did you hear about the 6-on-5 last night? Okay, so Vancouver pulls their goalie. There's about a minute left in the game, and they're all over at the bench. 6 guys there didn't go out there. And the only guy on the outside of the pile is Pettersson. Coach is talking to everybody. Pettersson stands on the backside of the pile. When they hey, break, they all disperse and go take the face off. Pettersson now skates over to the coach and starts talking to him. Like, hey, I wasn't part of this. I didn't get that. Again, that's what they're trying to.
That's what it looked like.
Listening.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it's been going on for too long. I mean, by now it would have been over with if it wasn't there. And, as far as that goes, that's all people are talking about. That's why I can't stand these kind of things. And it should have been taken care of 2 months ago or whenever it started. If it was real and they knew it was a thing, and even after you go a week and you're like, yeah, this is what it is. And they've just kind of let it linger, and that's exactly what's happened to that team right now.
Vancouver started the year with Thatcher Demko still injured. Remember, he missed a big chunk of the end of last year. They have gotten pretty good goaltending from Kevin Lankinen, which was a bit of a surprise because his numbers in Chicago or in Nashville weren't great. But lately, they are not doing well. The Stars will see them at the end of the month. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10. They're 1 point behind Calgary for the final wild card spot. Is there any surprise that they seem to be struggling with all the circus that's going on around the team?
I don't think so. I think it was like they exceeded expectations last year. Everything went right for that team, and now they're seeing the opposite. And as Lud said, the no distractions is a very real statement. It's not just something that Luds likes to wear on his shirt and talk about. It can really take away from your team. And when you have not just one, but 2 and 3 and more distractions with Demko's injury, it was a lot to handle, and they have not handled it very well. And not only is it getting worse for Vancouver, but it seems like it's getting harder and harder for them to either move on from them or to fix the problem.
It's different if it's a couple third or fourth line guys, but these are your top, arguably your top 2 guys, on your team that are having whatever little spat they're having.
It's your 2 highest paid forwards and 2 highest paid players, because Quinn Hughes looks like a bargain at $7.85 million. But Sean, let's talk about Miller and whether you'd want him first and foremost, because there was a story that Elliot Friedman had over at Hockey Night and Sportsnet Saturday there was a very good chance that he was going to get scratched because a trade was imminent between the Vancouver Canucks and the New York Rangers. That was tabled and then apparently died, but then now who knows if it's resurrected. What, from a player perspective, would a team get with JT Miller right now?
There's a guy who I know we just talked about you guys talked about a little bit of the distractions and the stuff on the side, but it's a player who's 100-point player last year, still producing close to a point per game, doing it on a team that's struggling. And honestly, he could instantly step in and be one of the Stars' top 2 centers or any team, right? And I know there's the off-ice stuff, but as a player, JT Miller has done nothing but exceed the past 3 to 4 years, and comes in, can help unlock a lineup, all these positive things. And I don't see why, like, if you have a team, if you're like Dallas, and we can get further more into the why you would and why you wouldn't type deal, but if you're a team that has a strong culture, I don't see why you would have any qualms about bringing this guy in and figuring it out, because even with the bit of the reputation about, hey, where's that his welcome and everything like that, Stars in particular, lots of guys have supposedly worn out their welcome and have fit well in Dallas. Ryan Suter in the past, Matt Duchene was a problem child before he came to Dallas. So I don't see, from a hockey perspective, I see no reason for Dallas not to be trying to go after JT Miller. And that's the crux of it for me. He is, for a team that needs to add some more should add some more offense to go from contender to super contender, why wouldn't you add JT Miller?
Yeah. I was just going to say, the crazy part about it is exactly what Sean said. Last year, 100 points, that was at their best. Everything was working for him. They were scoring a crazy amount of goals. But he scored 32 goals
and they were a Game 7 away from making the conference final.
Yeah, it was a very good team, but he's shown it before. He had 99 and 82 the year before, the 2 years before that. But the craziest part about what Sean's saying is the whole rumors about overstays his welcome, or he's not great in the locker room after a certain amount of time. Why do the Rangers want him back then? The Rangers were about to trade for him. If he overstayed his welcome the last time in New York, what do you need, like a 5-6 year break, and then you welcome him back in? It's just, I don't believe in that stuff as much as I think a lot of other people do. And Sean makes a great point. Dallas, if there's any place to fix something like that, Dallas is one of them.
Do you want to give up a roopehintz, Jason Robertson player for him, and then in his 5th and 6th year, when he's 36, 35, 36, 37 years old, he's making $8 million a year?
He's 31 now. He's got 5 years left after this year.
He's going to be
as you
37 making
so
$8
he'll be
million.
37 when that contract ends.
Mm-hmm.
Luds is over. That value is not right at all. It's not.
It's not?
It's not.
It's not right. It's not right, but it is what it is.
It's not what it's going to cost, though.
What do you think the value
you want to know?
is?
Do you want to know what they're asking?
Tell me what they're asking, Luds.
I just did.
So they're asking for roopehintz and Jason Robertson.
Both?
One of them.
Both or one of them?
One of them.
Not both.
I mean, that's fine. You
That's
can say, of course.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right?
But you think that's the actual value, right? Like
I'm not saying it. I didn't say shit. I didn't say nothing. I'm just.
I could say.
Hey,
I
I
could
didn't
say-
finish the sentence over there,
That's
John,
good.
shaking your head. I
good.
didn't say shit.
That's good.
Go ahead, run
Yeah,
it back.
just said it now.
Almost got
I
it.
said shit.
Again.
Oh, and we'll do a film breakdown of it on social media
So-
tomorrow.
I cannot wait to respond to these harsh, slanderous comments about red lights when the evidence
Of
is right in
course.
front of us.
Of course, we can do that. Of course, I'm going to ask for Jason Robertson or roopehintz at first. That doesn't mean anything at all. Honestly, who cares? Like, I would go say, "Oh, I want $2 million or whatever."
Remember,
it is.
Jeremy Swayman's camp asked for $10 million.
Exactly. So the realistic value for what Miller's going to cost if he gets moved, and so my guy I work with over at Elite Prospects, Cam Robinson, canvassed 8 different NHL executives about what the realistic value is, and we're looking at first-round pick and a roster player, maybe that. I mean, that, and then maybe a little bit more depending on how high the bidding war goes. Of course, if I'm Patrick Alvin, I'm saying, "Oh, give me Jason Robertson, give me roopehintz." Of course, that's what I'm saying initially. But no one's going to trade that type of player. The Rangers deal was a bunch of young guys and some picks going back, the one that got pulled. It wasn't a Panarin or anything like that going back. So I understand that's what in the conversation might be going on, where they're saying, "Oh, we want this guy or this guy." And then if you're Jim Nill, you're like, "Okay, cool, we'll talk later." When they tell me what the value really is and what they're asking for on February 25th, 26th. Of course, on January 22nd.
I say they've moved on.
You think who do you think's moved on?
Dallas.
Do you think the
That's what
Stars
I
have
say.
moved on?
That's what I
Right,
say.
sure.
Meaning that they're not in the running for this.
They're getting better offers from Jersey and, like you said, the Rangers. There's a couple other teams. I mean, of course, he's a good player right now, but you better have a team that's going to win the championship in the next 2 years, which I agree. Dallas is one of them. We have this conversation a few months ago, and I said, you give up what you got to give up to win a cup, and you
Yes.
guys all said no.
Yeah.
Or at least 2 of you did.
No,
Now all of a sudden we changed in our mind?
no. I don't think I was saying that. Maybe it was who you're giving up, but no.
Okay, well,
No, I think that the cost to win the problem is you don't know. You're making those risks or swings trying to win a cup. You don't know if you're going to win. If you do,
yeah, I think like someone says all the time, they're still only giving out 1 Stanley Cup.
Right.
So you bet. Are you there to win a Stanley Cup here this year?
and I want them to take those swings. But you have to make sure when you're analyzing the value versus the cost, is it worth it short term and long term? Right?
Are we all sitting here right now today? We feel Dallas is a top 3 contender?
If they
Today.
if they add no.
No, not ifs. Don't give me the ifs.
Well, I'm saying if they add pieces to make it, which is why they have to do it. That's
Okay.
my opinion. Next 2 years, Dallas is 1 or 2 pieces away from being a contender.
Next
Next
couple
year.
years. No.
I'm saying this year and then next year, they are 1 piece away from being right there. But the way they are right now, I don't believe they are, which is why I think they're in the running for these guys.
If you get Mason Marchment back, which it sounds like he's coming back around the 4 Nations break, whether it's before or afterwards, that helps a lot.
Yep.
If
Sam, who are your
Tyler's-
3?
What's that?
No, before we go too far back, Sam, who are your 3 right now? If Dallas isn't in your 3, who are your 3
The
right
3 contenders right now.
now? Yeah.
That's hard. Vegas is one of them.
Okay.
Winnipeg is another one, and I don't even know in the East. Maybe New Jersey.
Edmonton?
Florida.
How about Washington? The only best team in the league, and no one ever mentions Washington.
I don't believe in Washington.
We're actually going to talk about that in our
playoffs.
4th segment today.
But I mean, once again, I'm going to go back to my thing here. The Eastern Conference doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
If
right,
If you're
right,
going
right.
to get to the Eastern Conference, you're going to play a good team. So whatever. And for me in the West right now, it's Dallas, it's Vegas, and it's Edmonton right now. Colorado could be up there, but to me, for the Stars not to be in the conversation for top 3 cup contenders in the West, I have a hard time believing that right now. I know they lost to Carolina last night. Carolina's a good team, whatever, but you look at Dallas and healthy and contender stuff. They are a top 3 contender in the West for me.
Let's say JT Miller goes to Carolina. What does that do for Carolina?
It keeps them a top 3 contender in the East. And they don't matter. They don't matter. If JT Miller goes to Carolina, it's actually the best thing for Dallas. I mean, not the best
other
thing,
than getting him themselves.
Other than not winning a Stanley Cup. I don't care if it's in the East or the West or just the West or the East. You still got to win all of those teams and beat everybody in 4 rounds to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I get it. When you get to the finals, it's 50-50. Either we're going to win or they're going to win. That's better odds. But I'm just saying, long term, I don't know.
Well,
if you don't win it.
Hey, guys, let's carry this over. We have more time to talk about it. Then we'll get to Sean's 2 cents about the game last night here on the DLLS Dallas Stars podcast.
Let's talk about the East-West Shrine Bowl. America's oldest college football all-star game is being held right here in Texas. On January 30th, be a part of history in the making at the 100th East-West Shrine Bowl at AT&T Stadium. Since 1925, the game has benefited Shriners Children's and its mission to provide innovative pediatric specialty care to improve and transform the lives of children. Some of the largest names in football have played in the East-West Shrine Bowl, like Tom Brady, Walter Payton, Roger Staubach, Lawrence Taylor, and more, and some Cowboys alumni, Brian Anger and Rico Dowdle. The East-West Shrine Bowl has served as the starting point for many noteworthy NFL careers, including 80 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and more than 200 members of the College Football Hall of Fame. Tickets start at just $20. Use the code DLS when purchasing 2 or more tickets to receive 50% off. Visit shrinebowl.com to buy your tickets today.
Let's talk about Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead. We always talk about this at night when it's dark and you don't feel like you need your sunglasses. Well, it's bright and sunny right now when we tape this, and you could use a great pair of Shady Rays polarized sunglasses that won't break the bank. They're an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all of your outdoor activities, including Sam when he likes to get the base color going before the next season ahead. Well, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best season deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try it for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And don't forget, if you don't like them, they will exchange a new pair worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk to you when you shop because their team always has your back with personal and fast support. All right, let's keep this JT Miller conversation going, and then we'll get to Sean's 2 cents. Sean, part of the question is it worth the cost? Part of the question is it realistic? And I want to ask you, part of the realism discussion goes to there's a pretty public dispute between the ownership groups of the Vancouver Canucks and the Dallas Stars. Can a big-time blockbuster hockey trade be made between those two parties?
Oh, that's the $8 million question or whatever the cap it is for JT Miller. The whole fact, and now I've got the dogs barking here apparently. For those who don't know, right? There's a Francisco Aquilini, the owner of the Vancouver Canucks, and Tom Ghilardi tried to buy the Vancouver Canucks together. That was something, I think it was 2002, I think it was. And Ghilardi was supposed to be part of the group at the time that bought the Canucks, and then Aquilini, according to the Ghilardi camp, cut him out of the deal and got the deal done himself and bought the Canucks himself. The two owners, now this was before Ghilardi bought the Stars, but Ghilardi sued Aquilini. They went all the way to Canadian Supreme Court, or Supreme Court of Canada, which I learned is the proper name for it. And in 2009, they had the dispute was the Supreme Court of Canada side in favor of Aquilini, who owns the Canucks. So the two sides don't really like each other, the two ownership groups, even though the extended families still get along quite well, which is very odd. It's the two dads still get along, but the sons and the owners of the NHL teams don't get along. And it's one of those things where we've heard the rumblings before of how that's kind of what limited the trade. I think it was the Hamhuis trade that was limited when Dallas was talking to Hamhuis when he was with Vancouver, that eventually led to Dallas getting Chris Russell from instead from one of those Alberta teams. I can't remember which. And they have made trades since. Jason Dickinson got traded from Dallas to Vancouver at the expansion draft, but that was more of an asset in, asset out type thing. So when you talk about a big term deal and you talk about big money centerpiece, we like to believe that GMs have full control. But at the end of the day, it's the owner who's paying the bills. It's the owner who cuts the checks. I remember one of the famous stories about one of the biggest trades in Stars history is the Sergei Zubov trade. And was at the draft. The Stars traded for Zubov, sent Kevin Hatcher away, and they could not get a hold. The Stars could not. Bob Gainey could not get a hold of the owner. He was out somewhere on the Black Sea for like another business deal, and they basically decided, well, this was a deal. Even though we can't get a hold of him, we're going to push through on this either way because bringing in Zubov is more important. We'll deal with the consequences later if he wouldn't sign off on this. And as Luds has his second Stanley Cup ring, partially because of that deal. And but it just shows that owners, and this is their big money play thing, they want control on it. So it's not just Patrick Alvin and Jim Nill coming to a deal. It's both of them then telling their owners, hey, this is what the deal is. And so maybe that's why Luds, like you said, maybe they're asking for Roope Hintz and Jason Robertson. Maybe that's the reason they're asking for it. Maybe it's Aquilini saying, like, screw this. I'm not trading a big name guy away unless I'm getting one of your best players. And maybe that's why. Maybe the market is different for Dallas than it is for everyone else. So, it's not just two GMs here. It's two owners that will have to not see eye to eye, but will have to sign off on it too.
Sean should teach a history class.
I wasn't listening.
Okay, never mind. I guess not.
There's other reasons. I'll just leave it at that.
Boy, he's so cryptic, isn't he?
When he smiles like that, I just I
That.
want to know what's going on in his head.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Exactly, all the time. If as you're talking to our audience right now, Luds, the chances that Dallas lands JT Miller are what?
I say none.
None? Like, you don't think that they're really in a contention for this?
Oh, I don't. I'm like Sean makes a great point. Things can change.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. Again, you always start high. I get that. Don't you think this organization is very high on their youth and their young players and the future of the organization? I mean, we've seen a couple of them. If somebody asked me and that's who you want, I'm like, yeah, because you know me. I want to win another cup.
And you want to win it
if
now.
that's what you want, yeah, you might be able to part with that. Yep. Not what they're asking now, and I agree. They're not going into. They're not going to get Hughes out of Jersey. We know that, right? And you know they're not getting one of them clowns that we played last night out of Carolina, right? But there is a young group coming up here. You got to be concerned with that.
Maverick Bork,
right there.
first round pick. Do you take JT Miller?
Yes.
Sean, let's talk briefly about your 2 cents from last night because you saw something interesting in the third period, Stars and Hurricanes, that I'd love for you to share with everybody.
Yeah, one thing that we've talked about a lot on this show before, everyone in the hockey world talks about, is the overusage of the RVH and the post lean and the goaltending. We've seen some bad goals happen for it, but there's a bit of irony in watching the Carolina Dallas game last night from last night, where both third period goals was what they were 24 seconds. They're
24 seconds apart.
24. Yeah. The fact of the matter is, both goals were what the RVH was actually effectively designed to stop. And if John wants to pull the first one, yeah. So here's the Kachek, the goal. Here's the Harley goal, where you look at Kachekov aggressively comes out and makes the play, and that play is below. That puck is below the goal line. Below the faceoff dot, there is a threat on the back door. That's when a goalie is supposed to be in that post lane, because that's when you have the ability to explode back and make the save and get across. And so that's where he's supposed to be in that spot. And he gets lost, and that's why the Stars score by being 2 out. And then if you go to, and then 24 seconds later, you look at Jake Oettinger right here. So you look, and yes, I want the defenseman to clear this up and everything, but if you look at Jake Oettinger's left foot here, from above, right? For him to be able to one of the points and the reasons you have the RVH and the post lean is to be able to take the shot and also have that quick outlet to a hard push across for either the rebound and things like that. So Ottinger is super square to the shot. He's trusting his defender is going to make the save here. And when the rebound goes, he is basically dead in the water because of where his feet are right here. If you look where they are, the left foot's below the goal line. This is where Ottinger actually should be in a reverse vertical horizontal on the post here for that push across. And you got to make sure you're hugging the shoulder up top there. You got to make sure you're covering that upper part. But this is where that play is actually designed. So it's all the time. You see it on broadcast. You talk about it all the time. It's like, oh, the RVH is killing goaltending and everything like that. It's just there's an extreme irony to me where it is an effective tool that should be used from time to time. And this is a great example of misuse because 2 times it should have been used last night. It didn't, and it led to a 2-1 game. Now, maybe it's funny because both teams got one, so maybe it's just 1-0 Carolina if it goes the other way. But that is I couldn't help but watch that and completely overly break down that video myself for way too long this morning when I should have been doing other things.
Sean, don't you think that the VH or V8 or whatever the hell it's called now it has now, because of the skill of the players, is being picked apart?
I mean, yeah, and there are parts, yes, where that's the big thing, where it was players, and I think one of my views on what happened with goaltending and player, and Leds, you work with a bunch of kids who have come up and probably more skilled than ever, right? How many of them have worked on those individual skills all the time in those station style drills, right? For years, it was goalies working in those station style drills and everything like that, working on specifics here and there. And we got to this age of goaltending where it was save percentage has never been higher, everything like that. And it was because goaltenders worked on all these individual skills. Well, effectively, what goalie coaching was, the individual skills of it, became that for players, where there's like, okay, like, hey, we can have a stick handling coach. We can work on the small side drills. The way hockey coaching and practicing has evolved to focus so much more on these, on the players working on these spots. It's not just full ice drills, more opportunities where the small side drills, where everyone gets the opportunity to play the puck more around the net. That created a level of the sport where there's so many more players, even the base level. Like, it's funny, like there's the whole, the Michigan, right? Like it's the poster child for it. When Mike Legg did it, and as Marty will tell me, it should be called the Legger, not the Michigan. When Legg did it,
I sign off on that too.
Yeah,
it should be the Legger or the Mike Legg, not the Michigan.
Legger is what Marty calls it, so we're going to go with that.
And Marty played with him, so yeah, call it the Legger.
So that was such a, like, the way it took him, even the time he did it in a game, it takes him a half a second to do it and get it going. Every single kid can scoop up a puck now and do the Michigan if they're playing at a certain level. And part of that just comes from all these individual skill development. And at the same time, goalies never evolved and the coaching never evolved to it, where coaches just kept teaching, you do this in this situation, you do this in this situation. And so the RVH became part of the problem in goaltending, where goalies no longer solve problems. They're not taught to solve problems. They're taught to be, they're not taught to be athletes. They're taught to be, hey, make the percentage play, make this and that. Yeah. And you know what? It works up to a certain level. And the problem is it's gotten so many goalies by just being percentage players up to their 16, 17-year-old season. Then all of a sudden, you know what? Everyone has the skill. All of that's starting to pay off for everyone else, and they start getting picked apart. It's effectively, yeah.
I was just going to say, it should be called the Carson Fisk. Actually, Frisk. Carson Frisk.
Yeah? He did it first?
That was one on our team that did it this weekend.
Oh, this weekend.
Okay, yeah.
Did it this weekend.
Pulled it off in the tournament.
And this is to Sean's point. The last person I thought on our team that would pull it off. But because they're all, doing that. And it ended up being the game winner, I believe.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
Did the team go nuts?
The building, the whole building went nuts. I mean, it was at home for the first time we've been here. And it was against a good team. And, but anyway, he's right. Like, unfortunately for me, I get so pissed off at these small area games and stuff like that because they don't understand the game yet. And they are working on all the skill stuff, and it's what holds some of them back because they're not going to be that player if they want to get to the next level. It's good to have it in your toolbox, right? but and that's okay for the top 6, top 5 guys, whatever.
Oh.
But you're not that kind of player, and we need you, or you need you to be this guy. Otherwise, you're going to be doing this in men's league.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to sell.
Yeah.
I have a really
Exactly.
good example for that. I had a conversation with someone from the Grand Rapids Griffins the other day in the AHL team, because Elmer Soderblom, 6'8" forward for the Red Wings, played last night for them against Philly, and he hadn't played in the NHL for the last year and a half. He came up, and his first year in the NHL, plays 20 games or so. There's a cool play where he flips the puck over a guy and basically juggles a puck around a guy in the neutral zone, and he's 6'8", right? And you're like, good God, this type of skill in a guy that large. And then after 20 games, he went back to the AHL and was in the AHL again until last night. And you go through and you ask someone, like, why? Like, why is that why after he showed that? And they're like, well, all the time spent learning the skill, he just never learned how to play the game in his body, and he had to go back and learn that in the AHL. And it's a real life example from around the league that I just can't help but think about when Lutz brings that up.
Yeah.
It's what happens when you watch the YouTube highlights and things of the best players in the world, but you don't watch the rest of the game.
You just try to emulate those skill moves.
Yeah, and like I've said this to you guys before. I try to give a player, an NHL guy, because they like the NHL, but they really don't watch the games. They watch, all the clips. But go watch a game and watch Essa play. If you're that defenseman, go watch this guy play, because you have a better chance being him than you're going to be Wyatt Johnston for,
or Miro
or Miro, something like that.
Yeah. I got a goalie question, but let's do a break first.
Yep,
Yeah, let's go
because up next on the DLS Dallas Stars podcast, we're going to visit a topic of an old Stars friend.
Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, our coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days. Tested, it's proved. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
Let's talk about football, more specifically how to go see the NFC and AFC championship games in Buffalo or in Philadelphia. How do you do it? You need Game Time. Download the Game Time app. It has a new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You can, if you've never been to the link, or if you've never been up in Buffalo, it might be cold this weekend, but you can get virtual seat views to see exactly what it looks like before you pull the trigger, so you know what you're getting. Plus, they have a feature called all-in pricing. If you toggle that, it will make sure that you see the total up front before you purchase. No surprise fees at checkout. Plus, they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time by downloading the Game Time app. You then create an account. Use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Oh, and I think you can get really good tickets in Buffalo. Really good deal on tickets in Buffalo this weekend.
It's because it's in Kansas City, isn't it? All right. I made that wrong.
Classic.
Well, who's going to tell him it's in Kansas City? Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Hey, let me ask Sean real quick. Sean, that second goal from last night, the play, John, can you pop up that screenshot if you still have it?
I'm in the middle of doing the other
Okay,
stuff.
don't do it then.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
We have other elements.
I like goaltending, man. I'm excited. Sean, this goal kind of went off Jake's stick, right? He deflects it kind of into the middle of the ice, and it deflects off Kotkaniemi. Is this where he should be putting that rebound? Because like you're taught as a goalie, straight on shots especially, to use your stick, deflect him up into the corner, up into the glass. But what about when it's a sharp angle like this with traffic in front? Should he have put that in a different spot, or tried to use a pad or something to avoid what happened?
Well, with where that is, the little height of that one, I'd like to see. Because I would have liked to see him try to squeeze it into his body a little bit more, and obviously that's a very simple, easy thing to say is don't create any rebound on it. It's why there's not really a good spot on that far side. On that far side there's not really a good spot to quote unquote put that rebound. So it's why those plays can be dangerous, and it's also one of those reasons why, like I talked about Jake being able to, maybe if he's in the RVH, he gets over and makes the save. It's also times where you need to rely on your defender there to help out a little bit too. So there's no great spot to put that rebound. If you can get a stick on it, maybe you spike it up a little bit farther and it goes up a little bit hard under the corner. But it's not an easy play with the low pad shot there, and that's where the about 14 inches off the ice shot there, and that's so credit on the shot choice there from Carolina too.
Just curious.
All right, let's talk about John Klingberg, former Dallas Star, practiced with the Edmonton Oilers for the first time on Monday's practice. Does that say that says #Samando?
I couldn't read it on the screen.
There it is.
Whoa.
Look at that. A shirt for our little buddy,
Oh,
the
nice.
Samando. That is awesome.
Nice.
I think Luddy's friend is having a good time.
Oh,
Sam.
no, there's more. I
We
knew
have
you
a
had
t-shirt
stuff
that
in your
says
hand
Hot
over
Sam
here.
on
Oh,
it.
good. I get to both of
Samando.
them.
I can't imagine what the next one's going to
There's
say.
more?
Blame it on the wine. With a V-neck.
That may
Say
not be
Sam
for
on the
you.
sleeve.
I don't think that one's for me.
Say
There you go.
Sam
That's
on
from
the
Andrew
sleeve.
Leonard, his wife Sabrina.
Is this for
That's awesome.
Should have sent this one.
Does it say Sam on the sleeve? Is that
It's an official DLS.
It says,
unofficial.
it says
Unofficially
I love
official.
Hot Sam on the sleeve.
does
That
it?
is definitely for Katie.
Actually, yes.
Or it's
My-
Allie
my-
up in Edmonton.
My ability to read that from so far away, I'm giving myself a ton of credit.
Well done. I'll send this to you, Sean.
Speaking of Edmonton, John Klingberg practiced with the Oilers for the first time,
Nice.
and he addressed the media after this long ordeal of having hip resurfacing surgery, and I thought we'd talk about it a little bit because it was particularly fascinating to hear what he's gone through over the last few years. So here's Klingberg's first comments that I clipped of two, where he talks about how he feels now compared to prior to the surgery.
I feel incredible. I have way more motion, not any pain anymore, which is exciting. So no, I feel great, and I'm very happy to be here now.
How many years did you play with pain?
I mean, it's been there my entire career, but pain, like I'm not sure you can always deal with pain, but it's always been something that's been there, but being able to play through. But then over the last few years, it's been gradually getting worse and worse. And it came to a point last year where something happened during the game. I just felt that there's no way I'm going to be able to play another 80 games here. So that's when we decided to go down that road. And I'm happy I did. I feel so much better. I have so much more motion and no pain. So that's incredible.
I've talked to a bunch of players over the last decade that have gotten through a hip surgery, whether it's a replacement of repairing a labrum, I guess, or the hip resurfacing, whatever the procedure is. They all talk about, even if it's a tough rehab, yeah, it's stiff, there's work to be done, but there's no more pain. Luddy, playing through pain is something that hockey players are trained and learn to do. But that doesn't mean it's easier, and I'm guessing it's also because it's not just playing through it, it's living with pain.
Well, I think it probably depends on the player and the style of game also. You know, we know the way that Klingberg plays the game, and he needs to be fluid. And, you know, and he does a lot of this back and forth and up and back, and he dances on his skates when he was in his prime. And so I think that can affect you more when you're that type of player. I think there's other players that have played through that and do play through that and are living with it. but it just becomes the norm. And so, but you don't have to do what the top level players do. You can still play your game fairly effective, and you know, be a good player.
It's funny you bring that up because I couldn't have introduced my next clip better. Here's what John said about how he was struggling because of the hip to do what he is supposed to do.
Yeah, obviously a big part of my game is possession, playing with the puck and creating offense, but also I want to be reliable on the defensive side as well, and I haven't been over the last few years, which I know, and that's something I'm going to have to come back and I can be some kind of a corner piece in a successful team. And that's how I look at it. For me, it's important to come back and obviously contribute with the puck, but being reliable defensively as well. And I think that's something that I hope and pretty confident that it's going to be a lot better just because the way I move. So, but like I said, where I slot in, when I slot in, I'm not sure yet, but I'm just happy to be here and work my way through the last couple of things here and hopefully be able to.
Known for your ability to move and the way you could skate. When this came up and was bothering you, how much of that do you think you lost? Like
a lot.
Percentage.
I think a lot, especially without the puck, because I had to react to what other players were doing with the puck. So that's what I felt was really lacking. With the puck, obviously, I didn't feel like I could beat players as often as I could before. But at the same time, with the puck, I felt like I still could control the game somewhat the way I wanted to, even if it didn't get to the level that I wanted. But it was for sure a struggle without the puck. Just to be able to react to what players were doing, if they were going right or left, and I had to react to that. So it's almost like I almost kept a little bit of a distance just because I didn't want to give up a grade A and then to get an easy zone entry or whatever. So I'm pretty excited to get back to that and feeling like I can really.
What are your thoughts about that, Lutz? Because
I didn't hear anything after he said he wanted to be a better defensive player. That's got nothing to do with your hip. That's between the ears. If John Klingberg wants to be a better defensive player, he's got to think being a better defensive player. It has nothing to do with mobility. Klinger's been built and is built to be that offensive, dance around, I'm using the wrong guy, Sergei Zubov, because Zuby was just as good. Zuby never got enough credit about how good he was defensively, but Klinger, again, I think Klinger plays defense with the puck on his stick, and that's how he's there for that, even though they have Bouchard. One thing I can tell you, him and Bouchard won't be partners.
No,
he's not there to be a partner, to be the defensive guy with Bouchard, even though they're both on the same side. But they're there for. I mean, the power play is probably going to get better with Klinger there. If that's hard, because I think that Bouchard's got a shot. That's what he does. He shoots the puck and he shoots it hard, and he's pretty accurate with it. John is more of finding seams and lanes and things like that, and being able to bring the puck up through the middle of the ice. And total opposite of Miro. Well, Miro transport the puck for the most part with his legs, and he skates in straight lines and makes a good outlet pass. Where Klinger is a little bit more like Zuby. He can play east-west, and he can put that little saucer pass. He's a good quarterback in a power play.
Two quick questions. Was he a liability when he was at his best with Dallas? Was he still a defensive liability when he's putting up the 65 points? And
when he was at his best, no, I don't think he was. Because, again, what you're getting with a player like that, and so you try to put him with somebody that complements him. But, again, his play led more to offensive chances for his team versus leading to offensive chances to the other team. So, I mean, he had a lot of poise with the puck. And so when he was in his own zone, but what happens after you make a few laps around the league, you start, circling his name on the board, and you start getting harder on him and making it difficult. And so that he hears footsteps in the course of a game, so that he can't think that he can just take his time and do this and that. Guys now aren't fishing for the puck. Because now I think in the beginning, and they know he's not a big guy. He knows he's not a big guy. He's not built to absorb those kind of hits time after time. So there was more concern from opponents to be able to finish John Klingberg, let him make the pass, but finish it hard, because we'll take him out of the game.
To wear him down that way. Yeah. Well, here's the video that was shot by one of the reporters covering the Oilers on Monday's practice. And this is just a little, go ahead. Here's Klingberg. And this is his first skate with the team. He'd been playing with a junior team for a little bit, actually. And he said it was really wonderful to work his way back with that group. But again, this is just a practice and it's just a drill. It's not the same as an NHL game. But if you watch him move, and if the big thing is free of pain and more mobility, he doesn't look like he's struggling out there.
The big thing for me is, why did you have two hands on your stick when you were defending?
He always holds his stick really close together, which is, I remember when he was in Dallas.
He's all offense. I mean, and I don't got a problem with the way he's defending. I'm just saying he's ready to get the puck back.
Clearly, you do.
I do have a problem. I do.
Well, so Lutz, the other question I was going to ask, and goes with that perfectly.
Now, if he was here on this power play and he was going to be the number one on the power play, I'd be really happy.
Why?
Right now today. Well, because I think there's more creativity from up at that position up there with John Klingberg. That's what I think.
Or 55.
Oh, or 55.
Here we go again.
Okay.
So Klingberg said in that scrum that he's hoping to get in a couple of games before the Four Nations break. The Stars will not play Edmonton in Dallas again this year. They've already played their one. So unfortunately, I would love to see another regular season John Klingberg to Dallas if he's healthy, just to say hi to him. Obviously, I wish him nothing but the best. He's a good guy.
Has he played them?
Who?
Has he played in Dallas since he left?
Oh, yeah, because remember,
With Anaheim?
It was Anaheim, Minnesota, and then Toronto.
figured.
Although
I
I
was
don't
just
think
curious.
he played against Dallas with the Maple Leafs. I'd have to look. But there is still that possible collision course in the playoffs. And the way the two teams are playing, it would have to be a conference final rematch as of today.
What are you using? Invisible ink?
No, he's just trying to be on time and
well
did
done.
it without speaking up, which is nice. I don't know if Sean said 10 words this whole segment. That's okay. No, that's not true because you asked him a goalie question at the start. Up
See?
next,
I know it.
let's talk about a little kerfuffle between the Rangers and Senators, part of our NHL news and notes here on the DLS Dallas Stars podcast. But first, you can be a DLS diehard and support our show by scanning the QR code on the screen. If you're watching, if you're listening, go to the website, alldls.com. Sign up. If you get the annual subscription, you get a free T-shirt, which is included as a promo code, and you can have fireworks going off. And Luds is very, very jealous of that.
My dad became a diehard.
Did he?
Over Christmas break.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
You also get access to all the writing that Sean and Sam provide, as well as the other shows, Cowboys, Mavs, and Rangers. And in addition to that, John, if you would throw up that nice Mavs graphic. Okay, well, if you find it, there it is.
Classic.
There is a watch party coming up. The very first DLS watch party, Mavericks Celtics, February 6th, 6:30 at Cosm, which
Celtics.
I've heard is a
along.
phenomenal venue to watch a sporting event. If you're not in the arena live, this replicates that with really interesting camera angles, huge screens, and a whole stadium-like atmosphere. So you have to go to our website, alldls.com. There are very, very limited tickets left. Diehards get 20% off the tickets to the Cosm Watch Party. Get those, sell them out. They were under 10 the last time I heard. If you do that, then maybe the next one will be a Dallas Stars DLS Watch Party, which would be a lot of fun.
What was the date on that show again?
The 6th of February.
6th of February.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the NHL news and notes of the day, and it starts with a interesting interaction last night between the Rangers and the Senators involving Brady Tkachuk and Igor Shesterkin. Now, Sam, you were the one that saw it first, and you were positively giddy. So why don't you tell everybody what you saw, and then we'll get Lud's and Sean's reactions about it.
Yeah. First saw Brady Tkachuk being Brady Tkachuk and giving a little extra shoulder lean into the goalie. It was a dangerous play at first. Shesterkin's kind of bending back to make the save, and his legs get kind of caught up underneath him as he gets pushed in. But I just thought it was hilarious because you watch the Rangers, and I tune into every Rangers game I can just because almost every game there's something like this. It's a Rempe fight or a Rempe suspension or something with Shesterkin losing his mind or some kind of chaos. And after Tkachuk pushes Shesterkin into the net, the Rangers all come to his aid. There's a bunch of stuff going on behind the net, but then Shesterkin sees Tkachuk kind of looking at him, and he goes absolutely nuts on him. Starts throwing the blocker and glove, which you told me is a match penalty if he throws a punch with the blocker. Is that right?
Yeah, Sean and I were talking about this morning. I don't know if either of us can recall, and maybe it's happened, an actual instance. Luds, has there ever been an instance that you can recall where a goalie has actually been ejected from a game in the NHL for using the blocker to lead a punch?
I mean, if Eddie wasn't ejected for the things he did in that cup
Using
run.
the blocker for what?
The punch with the blocker on, as opposed to dropping
Didn't
the gloves
Hexy
in front.
get, I want to say, him and Chelly in Montreal in the Philly game? I think Hextall got Chelly after Chelly ran him. Hextall came flying into the pile with his blocker.
Did he get thrown out?
Yeah, it's not the first time.
Right, but
about getting ejected.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of guys got ejected from that game. But Sean, I'm sure there has to be some.
I just remember
some
Belfour.
guy you remember.
Belfour used to do it.
Yeah,
all
but
the
I
time.
don't know. Eddie kind of had a little. He had more of the WWE in him. You know what I mean? Like more of the elbow smash.
Yeah.
But Eddie's throwing his blocker at people. Yeah, and who was that? Gerard Gallant. He got up on the Nuggets there one time with his stick, and Eddie would try just about anything.
That was the old cup check.
Yeah, well,
Well, Sean, Shesterkin misses with the punch on Tkachuk.
He didn't do a good job.
And then he lost his balance and fell down and looked kind of feeble in the process. But when you watched that, what were your initial thoughts and reactions?
The first one was that's Brady Tkachuk being Brady Tkachuk on everything. He's going hard to the net. He's letting the Rangers defenseman give him he's basically taking the little extra inch he gives by having contact with the Rangers defenseman that allows him to push a little bit further. And the thing that was that I got way too worried thinking about was it's fascinating to me that I don't know what the code was when you played and how it worked, but from my view on things, if one goalie hops into it, that's the other guy's job then to go handle him, right? That's kind of how. So for me to see that happening, I then kept looking to the left side of the screen, expecting why don't we have Forsberg fly? That's goalie is responsible for goalie in that situation is my read on life in the situation. So I was disappointed to not see
that would have been
Forsberg
awesome.
Do his job, which
booking it all the way down.
Well, we used to see it. That was I mean, I wouldn't call it a regular occurrence, but occasionally you would see a goalie come storming down.
Well, a lot of times you
end.
see them call each other out.
Oh, for sure.
But this one here, I think Shesterkin just there. My whole problem with the thing is he's playing dead. He's playing pot. It reminds me
before he goes after Tkachuk.
Well, yeah, you think he's lame, done. I mean, it reminded me so. As soon as I saw that, my three-legged dog grabbed a possum one day. It seriously grabbed the possum, and I saw it through the door, and I went chasing out because I didn't know what the hell it was. And all of a sudden, I saw the possum in its mouth, and Lucky's playing. Now he's got a toy, so I got it out of his mouth, and I left it lay there, and I went back with a shovel later to get it because there was stuff coming out of his mouth and blood and stuff like that. And that's about 30 minutes later, I was going to go get it and shovel it up and put it in the garbage can. Damn thing jumped up and just took off, just sprinted away. That reminded me of Shesterkin. He played possum on that whole thing. He should have gotten a 2-minute embellishment on top of everything else. So that's what he should have gotten because he's just laying there like he's dead, and then he jumps up and then he jumps into the pile. And that was after the cavalry had already been.
Kachuk's tied up with two other guys when he gets in there. What were the penalties? Do you know?
I can look them up.
I didn't look.
You know what? The thing that really didn't bother me was the whole play.
Do we have the video? We can't.
No, we can't show the video. So I didn't do screen grabs to that because we had other stuff we were doing with Klingberg and ever. But to me, I didn't have a problem with what Brady Tkachuk did. He's crashing the net. I didn't have a problem with the Rangers' reaction. They're protecting their goalie. The thing I don't want to see, and I understand that Shesterkin didn't like the contact, and it looked like his head kind of bonked. It got squished against the post a little bit. He's okay. I'm okay with a goalie lashing out and trying to protect himself a little bit. I don't want to see that. We used to call them waffle boards. I don't want to see that blocker being used as a blunt force object. That to me is concerning. If we're going to sit here, Luds, and say that Connor McDavid and Tyler Myers shouldn't be using cross checks to the head, and then we say, oh, it's just goalies being goalies. That to me, that blocker is a real weapon. They shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. Otherwise, the whole exchange is just fun.
Luckily, Shesterkin has never been in a fight in his life, and he missed by 8 feet with that punch. But yeah, I agree. It's a very, very dangerous weapon that you have as a goalie. But I'm sure Sean has thrown a couple of those in his day.
I'm going to plead the fifth on when and where the blocker should be used. We played the same beer league team back-to-back weeks, the past 2 weeks, and there was a suspension on the other team for it, for some things that happened. So
also, Sean, tell him how that blocker is attached to your hand, though, too.
It is.
Exactly. I mean, you got to go through a bit of a process to get it off.
It's Velcroed hilarious
if you see him. He's undoing all this.
I don't have a problem for you. I don't care if he does it.
The penalties on that play were Brady Tkachuk was called for interference against the goalkeeper, then roughing, and then roughing. So he got a 4-minute double minor plus 2 for goalie interference. And then Matt Rempe was given a 4-minute double minor for roughing.
Shesterkin
didn't
get anything?
Shane Pinto was called for roughing against Adam Edstrom.
Keeps going.
So, and then Igor Shesterkin got a penalty for leaving the crease.
There you go.
Yeah.
So how did it all shake out at the end of it?
Sounds like Ottawa had more.
I believe I think the Rangers had a 2-minute power play, which was the interference on the goalie. That's basically how that breaks out.
I love when you get those scrums like in the NHL, and then the ref's just like, "All right, it's done. Nobody gets anything."
Well, it's kind of like McDavid,
Wes
Myers.
McCauley the other night. You remember?
Yeah, I mean, here, gone. Everybody else gets 2.
Yeah, you're fine.
Nothing to see here anymore.
There's 4 seconds left in the game or something when the whistle blows, and we watch. Letty pulled up the video when we were getting ready to talk about the Connor McDavid and Tyler Myers suspensions. Which, if you haven't seen our VOD on YouTube, you can go watch the video there where Letty and I broke it down. And Wes McCauley announces it, as the referees do now, and he says, McDavid, he's got a match penalty. Then I think he says 57. I don't even think he says Myers. He just says 57 Vancouver match penalty. Everyone else on the ice has 2-minute minor, which is just his way of saying, go to your dressing rooms. We're going to get this game over with. But the way he said it was pretty funny. So, Sean, you had one interesting note about the goaltending situation at the other end of the ice, aside from not charging him down. Did you want to share any of your thoughts about Levi Marilainen and Anton Forsberg?
I will, but I also want to put a pin into the fact that I want to go back to the 3-legged dog story with Luds. I want to hear the backstory on the 3-legged dog because I have a 3-legged cat story, so I want to go into that. But first,
it's the whole back seat on the way to Wisconsin.
The Senators, because I was very disappointed with how people wrote about this game last night, Owen, because you and I were talking. I was trying to figure out the story behind it because Marilainen got pulled after allowing 2 goals on 16 shots. And if you look at the time on ice and everything like that, he actually lets up his last goal and then gets pulled about 3 minutes later. He actually let up 4 goals. He actually let up 4 goals because the Senators won 2 challenges to overturn goals that he allowed before he went in.
Because of offsides.
Yeah, because of offsides. And I actually love that Ottawa did it. I love that Ottawa was like, you know what? He doesn't have it. It doesn't matter that we probably statistically saved him by our video coach. And they yanked him because he wasn't good. I think goalies, when they don't look good in the first period, should get yanked more often because I think teams would probably save themselves from themselves sometimes. So
that's funny.
And he got pulled. So it was his 4th goal against, but only the 2nd that counted.
Yes.
And Sean,
the Senators video staff was 2 for 2. Forget
well done.
So it was the first one was when the score was 0-0, and Rempe was offside.
Classic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Rempe was involved in the second one. I think he was offside again when the Rangers scored. It would have been 3-0, but it was 2-0. And then, of course, they scored a third one, and then they had that whole melee and stuff later. But the reason why that started was because Sean was trying to figure out which goalie was in the net.
So they could come over, so they
back to his earlier complaint about not charging after Shesterkin was that.
If Olmark was in, he would have done it.
Oh, yes.
It's my prediction.
Yes, would have been. So,
guys,
three-legged dog. Can I hear the backstory?
Oh yeah, please go right ahead.
Yeah, we got time for it.
We do.
What about it? What happened?
I don't know. The three-legged
Sean wants
dog.
to know the story behind
Where's
your
the other
three-legged
leg?
dog.
Yeah.
Oh, where's the other leg? Oh, it's not there. It hasn't grown back.
Was it ever there?
No, you know what?
The dog.
What happened?
What happened
Was I got him from the shelter. So he was apparently hit by a car, and he hobbled himself into a kennel. And they put him in this particular kennel and did not do anything with him. And a vet luckily walked in like 4 days later, and said, "What's going on here?" The vet took the leg off, brought him back. And then when I had someone call me about it, they said there was a note on the door, or on his kennel, like nobody went and got him within a week. They were going to put him down.
Oh man,
yeah, and he was like just a little over a year old. So I went, and you'd have never known that he only had 3 legs. I mean, he's caught 2 birds in the air on the fly in motion.
Nice.
Wow.
The best is when he jumps in the lake. When he gets out and he jumps in the lake, and he goes out and chases the ducks. And so he starts swimming after the ducks, and the ducks are just screwing with him, right? Like they're looking over their shoulder, and as they just kind of keep on going, lucky because his back leg is his back left. Well, he just goes in like a boomerang. he goes in a circle, and before you know it, he's looking over his right shoulder. The ducks are out there just kind of waving at him like "see ya," and he just kind of comes back. He comes right back to land.
Has he ever caught one?
No.
Never.
They ain't
because they
catching him
know.
now. Yeah, they know. So they
know he's going left.
But you say that, but all it takes is one mistake, right?
Yeah.
So
he's got a lot of
our dogs.
Throw some bread out there.
Distraction. I mean the ducks.
Yeah, distract them.
Listen, trust me, I know how to get ducks to come to mama. I'm not concerned about that. No, he's eating a lot
Well,
of
it's just
things.
like a
He's eating
snake charmer for the
squirrels and
Ducks.
he's eating
What?
mice. And
And read the 59-minute thing so then I can follow up the story.
Yes, sir. Thanks to everyone who joined on our television platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe here on the pod and check out alldls.com and add an extra L just for good luck.
Aldles.
It's Dlls. I grew up with a 3-legged cat. My parents had a 3-legged cat when I was born. Hit by a car when I was a kid, and then dragged itself home and had three. So the only cat I had seen for the first 3 to 4 years of my life was a 3-legged cat. And so apparently the story goes, when I was 3 or 4 years old, I looked out the window and saw a 4-legged cat, flipped out. Because I'd never seen a 4-legged.
Sean was failing all of his tests in school. That's not a cat. That's got 3 legs.
His art teacher couldn't understand why he only did 3-legged cats.
I will have to get the picture. There is a painting, a very poorly painting. I want to be clear on that. From like when I'm in kindergarten, on my parents' wall in their house, where there is a 3-legged cat painted on the wall, like in watercolors. And the teacher kept telling. Apparently, the story goes, the teacher kept telling me that I had to add a 4th leg, and I refused to add a 4th leg to the painting. And
then it wouldn't look like a cat.
What kind of mutant
That'd be
animal
a
do you want me
dog.
to draw?
I'm not drawing a dog here.
Exactly. So for 3 to 4 years of my life, I assumed cats only had 3 legs, all cats. And then first time you see a 4-legged cat after that, it just freaks you out. So
that's amazing. We need the Stars to play fewer games so we can do these regular shows more because they're so much fun.
Condensed schedule, 82 games,
Yeah.
4 nations
February break's
tournament,
gonna be great.
Finland trip, all of it just adds up to this ridiculous. We never get to just be silly and goofy.
hey, I want to ask you, were there any tickets left for the Mavs Cosm deal?
I haven't
Last night you
checked-
said something
Yes,
about
there
it.
are.
So the last time I heard from our GM, he said this was a few nights ago. There were 13 tickets left. I haven't checked with him.
Because we don't
today.
play that night, or
Yeah,
we
it's an
don't
off
work
night.
that night.
You trying
We
to
have an
go?
off night. Yeah, I might go there.
I really
Yeah.
want to go watch.
Diehards get 20% off.
Are we diehards technically?
Are you not? I have access to the diehard level on our website.
I hope I do. I write
So
for
do
our
I gotta
website.
go. I gotta go buy the package now to get my.
you
No, you're good.
do
You have
a
access.
diehard access.
Oh, yeah?
It's in your login. Just go to
You can
Slack
go,
and then
lads.
Discord, and you'll.
Does that mean I got to go on the
Here we
computer
go
now?
again. We're asking
Get
Luddy
these
to
things?
get into the Slack channel. It's not going to happen. Well,
KG.
we could talk about the Caps who've won 5 in a row. They went into Edmonton and won. They have a 4-point lead in the President's Trophy race. Still have a ways to go. We could talk about the congested Eastern wildcard race because Montreal, Boston, and Ottawa are tied for the first wildcard with 52 points. Tampa is only 1 point ahead in third in the Atlantic with 53. Columbus at 51. Rangers and Flyers at 50. But Sam and Luds have closed their computers, and that means it's time for us to go. We'll be back tomorrow, all 4 of us. So thanks for joining here on DLLS for our producer, John Anderson, for Sean, Craig, Sam, a.k.a. Hot Sam.
Do we get to exit with the Scooter Boy?
If you'd like.
John, do we get to exit with Scooter Boy, or you got
I'm
something
Owen
else?
Newkirk. Thanks for joining us
You
today.
want me to play the video on the way
Yeah,
out?
yeah,
Is
yeah.
that what
Let's
you're saying?
give him a second look, and let's get up the voting, or what do we call it, the polling.
If I close my computer, I just disappear. So I'm going to do that right now.
I mean, if you want to do the very Vegas style exit, I'm out.
Well, that's it.
Oh, so illegal.
And for all of you listening on the
illegal.
audio version, this video just doesn't do it justice.
Tomahawk City.
We all silly like the mayor.